Ben never planned to work on a space station so far from Earth, but jobs were hard to find and he needed money. The job was simple in theory: keep the mining machines running, check the control panels, and make sure the gas harvesters kept pulling fuel from the giant planet below. But out here, nothing ever stayed simple for long. On his first day, Ben met Lara. She was not human, but she was the only other person he saw on the station more than twice a day. Her skin was a soft purple color, and her eyes were bigger than his. She was taller than Ben too, but she never looked down on him. Lara did not laugh at his jokes, but sometimes she would smile in her own way, one eyebrow up, lips pressed together. She always wore the same gray uniform, and she always kept her tools in the same pocket. Ben liked working with her, even if she was a little strange. After 2 months, Ben and Lara had a routine. They took turns checking the machines, cleaning the air filters, and fixing anything that broke. Sometimes, after a long shift, they would sit in the small kitchen, drinking rehydrated soup and listening to the hum of the station. Ben would talk about Earth, about the rain and the trees and the blue sky he missed. Lara did not talk about her home much. She only said it was cold and that her people lived in caves. She missed the dark. Ben tried to understand, but it was hard to imagine a world so different from his own. One day, after a morning of hard work, Ben met Claire, a new engineer from another part of the station. Claire had short brown hair and a quick smile. She was human, and she joked about how the food tasted like wet cardboard. Ben laughed and told her he was starting to like the taste. Claire laughed too. Lara was not there. Ben did not think much of it. Later, Ben went back to the control room. Lara was there, working on the main panel. She looked up as Ben walked in. Ben smiled and said, "You will never guess who I met today. Claire from Sector 3. She makes the best jokes." As soon as he said it, Lara's face changed. Her eyes got narrow, her lips pressed even tighter than usual. She stood up so fast her chair rolled back and hit the wall. For a moment she just stared at Ben. Then, without a word, she stormed out of the room. Ben watched her go, confused. He had never seen her angry before. Ben tried to finish his shift, but he could not stop thinking about Lara. He went over their last conversation in his mind, but he could not figure out what he had done wrong. He thought maybe Lara was just tired. Everyone had bad days on the station. Maybe she missed home even more than usual. He decided to give her some space. He finished checking the readings, then made himself a cup of soup. He thought about sending Lara a message, but he worried she would not answer. It was almost time to switch shifts when Ben heard the alarms. Red lights flashed in the hallway, and the speakers beeped a warning. "System error in main control panel," the computer voice said. Ben jumped up and ran to the control room. When he got there, he saw the main panel was broken. The screen was cracked, wires were hanging out, and there was a big dent in the metal. It looked like someone had hit it hard. Lara was not there. Ben's heart sank. He knew Lara had been upset, but he never thought she would do something like this. Now the alarms were ringing and the station was running on backup power. If they did not fix the panel fast, the mining machines would shut down. Worse, the life support systems could start to fail. Ben took a deep breath. He tried to stay calm. He grabbed his toolkit and opened the side of the panel. He checked the wires, trying to see which ones were loose. He found 3 that were burned, and 2 that were almost torn in half. Ben shook his head. He had seen machines break before, but never like this. This was not an accident. Someone had lost their temper. As Ben worked, he kept thinking about Lara. She had always been careful, always calm. He wondered if she was angry at him, or if something else had happened. Maybe she got bad news from home. Maybe someone in her family was sick. Ben's hands shook as he fixed the wires. He wished he could talk to Lara and ask her what was wrong. It took almost an hour to get the panel working again, even a little. Ben managed to stop the alarms, but only just. The backup systems would not last long. He sent a message to Claire, asking if she had seen Lara. Claire wrote back, "No sign of her, but don't worry, she is tough." Ben thought about what to do. Next, he could not leave the station like this, but he did not want to force Lara to talk if she was upset. He decided to check her cabin. When he got there, the door was locked. Ben knocked softly. "Lara, it's me, Ben. I just want to make sure you're okay." There was no answer. Ben waited a little longer, then went back to the control room. He tried to fix more of the panel, but he was tired and worried. He kept thinking about Lara's face when he mentioned Claire. He remembered her eyes, the way she looked at him as if he had hurt her. Ben never meant to upset her. He wondered if he would ever understand her, or if life on the station was about to get even harder. He stayed in the control room for the rest of his shift. He made a list of all the things he needed to fix and wrote a report for the station's main computer. Every few minutes he checked the hallways, hoping to see Lara, but she did not come back. The lights dimmed for the night cycle. Ben sat alone in the kitchen, sipping his cold soup. He looked out the small window at the endless stars. He missed Earth, but he missed his friend even more. He wished he knew how to fix what was broken, not just the control panel, but whatever had gone wrong between him and Lara. He hoped tomorrow would bring answers, but in space, nothing was certain. Ben woke up the next day with a headache and worry still sitting heavy in his chest. He tried not to think about Lara as he pulled on his uniform, but her face kept coming back to him. He wanted to fix the broken control panel, but he knew that was only half of the problem. He wanted to fix things with Lara, too. He made his way to the kitchen and poured himself some weak coffee. There was no sign of Lara. Her door was still locked. The station felt too quiet. Ben looked over the station. Logs. There were no messages from Lara, no reports, nothing. The main computer showed that the mining machines were running on backup control, but for how long, Ben didn't know. Ben tried to focus on his work. He checked the life support system, making sure the air was still clean. He cleaned the water filters, which always made his hands itch. After that, he went back to the control room. The panel was still cracked. Some wires he had fixed last night were already showing signs of wear. Ben made a list of the new parts he would need. He sent a message to the supply officer back on Earth, but he knew it would take days for the parts to arrive. For now, he had to make do. He thought about asking Claire for help. She was smart and good with machines, but he worried that talking to her might make Lara even more upset. Ben sat in front of the panel for a long time, just thinking. At last, he sent Claire a short message. Control panel smashed. Lara. Upset. Any advice? Claire replied quickly. Alien ways are strange. Maybe she thought you liked someone else. Some species don't talk about feelings. Be patient. Ben stared at her message for a while. He did not understand what she meant. He liked working with Lara, but he never thought about it in a special way. He wondered if Lara felt something different. While Ben was thinking, a warning beeped on the control panel. One of the mining machines had stopped working. Ben cursed under his breath. He grabbed his toolkit and went down the long metal hallway to the docking bay. The machine was huge, all sharp edges and humming motors. Ben crawled inside and started checking the wires. While he worked, his mind kept going back to LAIR. Halfway through the repairs, Ben heard a soft noise behind him. He turned and saw Lara standing in the doorway. She was still wearing her gray uniform, but her eyes looked tired. She did not speak, just stood there, watching him work. Ben wanted to say something, but the words caught in his throat. He did not want to make things worse. Instead, he kept working, trying to fix the broken machine. Lara watched him for a few minutes, then turned and walked away. Ben felt worse than before. He finished the repairs and went back to the control room. Lara was gone again. Ben tried to send her a message. Can we talk? There was no answer. The hours passed slowly. Ben tried to focus on his work. He checked the oxygen tanks, made sure the fuel lines were clear, and wrote a report for the next shift. He kept checking the hallway, hoping to see Lara, but she did not come. That night, Ben sat in his room looking at old photos of Earth. He missed the green hills and the blue sky. He missed the sound of rain. The space station felt cold and lonely. Ben wondered if Lara felt the same way. Maybe that was why she got so upset. As he sat there, his computer beeped. It was a message from Claire. Try to find out what Lara needs. Ask about her world. Maybe she needs a friend more than anything. Ben decided to try again. He made a small package, some cookies from his last supply box, and a card he drew. Himself, he walked to Lara's door and left the package outside. He knocked once, softly. "I'm sorry if I made you angry." "I hope you're okay." He waited, but Lara did not answer. Ben went back to the control room, feeling tired and sad. In the early morning, Ben was woken by another alarm. The backup power was running low. He ran to the control room and saw that the panel was failing again. Without Lara's help, Ben knew he could not keep the station running for long. He tried to fix what he could, but his hands were shaking. From lack of sleep. Just when Ben thought he could not do any more, Lara appeared at the door. She looked at the broken panel, then at Ben. Her face was hard to read. Without saying a word, she picked up a tool and started helping him. Together they worked to fix the worst of the damage. Lara did not speak, but her actions showed she still cared about the job. Ben watched her work, trying to understand her. He saw the way she moved, quick and sure, but also tired. When she finished, she turned to leave. Ben reached out. "Lara, please, can you tell me what I did wrong?" Lara stopped, but did not look at him. "You talked about another female," she said quietly. "It made me feel bad. I do not like it." Ben was surprised. "I was just talking." "Claire is just a friend," Lara shook her head. "I do not want to hear about her." Then she left, closing the door softly behind her. Ben stood in the quiet room, feeling confused. He had never seen Lara act this way. He did not know what to do next, but at least she was talking again, even if only a little. Ben hoped that things would get better, but he knew it would take time. For now, he just had to keep the station running and hope that he and Lara could find a way to understand each other. The next day started with a cold silence that filled the whole station. Ben could not sleep much. He kept thinking about Lara, the broken panel, and the strange way things felt now. The work on the mining station was always hard, but now it felt even heavier. Ben checked his list of repairs and saw there was still a lot to do. The control panel was working, but only just. He knew they needed to fix it better, and he also knew he could not do it alone. Ben walked down the hallway, his steps echoing in the metal. He saw Lara's door was open. She was not inside. He guessed she had already started her shift. He went to the control room and found Lara working on the backup generator. She did not look at him when he entered, but she did not leave either. Ben wanted to talk, but he decided it was better to work first. For a while, they worked side by side. Lara checked the wires and replaced some burned parts. Ben handed her tools and followed her instructions. Even without many words, they worked well together. Ben felt a little hope. Maybe things could get back to normal. As they worked, the lights in the control room flickered. Ben checked the readings and saw the power was dropping again. He told Lara, and together they opened the main panel. They found more wires burned and some small parts missing. Ben asked Lara for the repair kit, and she handed it over without looking at him. While Ben fixed the wires, he tried to find the right words. "Lara, I'm sorry about yesterday. I did not mean to hurt you." Lara did not answer right away. She kept working, her hands moving fast. Finally, she said, "Humans talk about others all the time. On my world, it is not like that. If you talk about another female, it means you do not care about the one you work with." Ben was surprised. "I did not know. Where I come from, we can talk about friends. It does not mean we care less about anyone." Lara shook her head. "It is not the same for me." Ben thought about her words. He wanted to understand, but it was hard. He finished fixing the wires and checked the panel. The lights came back on and the alarm stopped. For a moment, it felt like things were almost normal again. As they finished the repairs, Lara looked at Ben. Her eyes were softer now. "I do not want to hear about Claire. Not from you." Ben nodded. "Okay. I will try." Lara stood up and put her tools away. She started to leave, then stopped. "Thank you for fixing the panel." She left the room quickly. Ben sat alone in the control room, thinking about what Lara said. He wondered if he could really stop talking about other people. He wanted Lara to be his friend again. He wanted things to feel right between them. But he was not sure how to make that happen. That afternoon, Ben worked on the outside sensors. The wind from the gas giant made the station shake. Ben held onto the rail, thinking about Lara and her strange ways. He tried to remember the last time they laughed together. It seemed so long ago now. After the shift, Ben made 2 cups of soup. He walked to Lara's room and knocked. "I made extra soup," he said. "Would you like some?" For a long moment, there was no answer. Then Lara opened the door. She took the cup from Ben and nodded. They sat together in silence, sipping the hot soup. Ben felt a little better. Maybe Lara did too. As they ate, Lara spoke quietly. "On my world, we work in pairs. We do not change partners. It is important to trust the one you work with." Ben listened. "That sounds nice, but humans work in groups. We have many friends. It does not mean we do not care." Lara nodded. "It is hard for me. You are my partner here. I do not want to lose that." Ben smiled a little. "You will not lose me. I like working with you." Lara looked at Ben, her eyes bright. "Thank you." Later, Ben went back to his room. He thought about Lara's words. He realized that trust was the most important thing on the station. Without trust, nothing would work. Ben decided he would do whatever he could to make things right. That night, another warning light blinked on the control panel. Ben ran to check, and Lara was already there. Together, they fixed the problem. They did not talk much, but Ben felt the old teamwork returning. Before they left the control room, Lara stopped Ben. "Do you want to see a picture of my home?" Ben nodded. Lara showed him a small screen. There were dark caves and glowing rocks. Strange shapes moved in the shadows. Ben thought it looked cold and quiet, but also beautiful in its own way. "Thank you for showing me," Ben said. Lair smiled in her quiet way. "Maybe one day you will see it for yourself." Ben laughed softly. "Maybe. But for now, I am glad." "You are here," Lara nodded. Together, they walked back to their rooms. Ben felt tired, but he also felt hope. Maybe things were not perfect, but they were getting better. And on a lonely space station, sometimes that was enough. Ben woke up to the soft hum of the station and the glow of the artificial morning lights. He lay in bed for a while, thinking about Lara, the quiet dinner they had, and the small steps they made toward fixing their friendship, even with all the work still ahead. Ben felt lighter than before. Maybe things were changing, slowly but surely. As he walked to the kitchen, Ben saw Lara was already there, sitting at the small table with a cup of water. She looked up and nodded. Ben smiled and poured himself some coffee. They ate their simple breakfast together in silence. But it was a peaceful silence, not the cold one from before. When they finished, Ben went to the control room to check the station's systems. He ran diagnostics on the power lines and checked the main panel. It was working better now after their last repairs, but he knew it was still weak. He added more items to the repair list, hoping the supply ship would arrive soon with new parts. Every day the station seemed to give them a new problem to solve. As Ben worked, Claire sent a message to his station terminal. "How are you and Lara doing?" she wrote. Ben thought for a moment, then replied, "Better. We talk more now. Thank you for your help." Claire sent back a smiling face. Ben smiled to himself. He was glad he had someone to ask for advice. In the afternoon, Ben decided to learn more about Lara's culture. He searched the station's computer for information about Lara's people. He found a short file about alien customs. It explained how trust and work partnerships were the most important part of their lives. To lose a partner or to feel replaced was one of the worst things for them. Ben read the file twice, thinking about all the times he had talked about other people with Lara nearby. Maybe she felt like he was not loyal. Ben felt bad for not understanding sooner. As he read, Lara walked into the room. She saw what was on the screen but did not say anything. She sat down across from Ben and started sorting tools. Ben looked up and took a deep breath. "Lara, I want to understand you better. I read about your world. I did not know how much trust means to you." Lara looked at him quietly. "It is hard for me. Everything here is new. I only have you." Ben nodded. "I understand now. I want to be a good partner. Laura's eyes were soft. She gave a small nod. Thank you. They spent the rest of the day working on repairs together. With every problem they solved, things felt a little easier. Lara started talking more, asking Ben about Earth and his family. Ben told her about his little brother, about his mother's garden, and the big dog he used to have. Lara listened carefully, asking questions about things she did not understand. When their work was done, Ben and Lara sat in the common room, watching old Earth movies on the small screen. Lara found human humor strange, but she liked the bright colors and happy endings. Ben laughed when Lara tried to tell a joke of her own. It made little sense, but her serious face made it funny anyway. For the first time in days, Ben felt happy. As night fell, Lara shared more about her home. She told Ben about the deep caves, the glowing stones, and the singing winds. Ben tried to imagine it all. Lara said she missed the sound of her family singing together. Ben promised that one day he would find a way to hear it for himself. As they said goodnight, Lara hesitated. Ben, if I do something wrong, please tell me. I do not always know what humans want, Ben nodded. And if I say something that hurts you, please tell me too. Lara smiled her quiet smile. I will. The next morning, Ben checked the control panel. There was another small problem, a glitch in the oxygen monitor. Ben and Lara fixed it together. With each repair, their trust grew stronger. One afternoon, Ben was alone in the control room when Claire sent another message. You and Lara seem close now. Be careful, some people do not like humans and aliens working together. Ben thought about that for a while. He wondered if the supply team or people on Earth would care about his friendship with Lara. But he knew it did not matter. On the station, they only had each other. He replied, I trust Lara. She trusts me. That is enough. As the week passed, Ben noticed he and Lara could joke again. Sometimes Lara would laugh at something Ben said. Sometimes Ben would try to copy one of Lara's strange jokes. Life on the station was not perfect, but it was better. The control panel was still old and weak, but Ben and Lara were strong together. They had learned how to talk about their feelings and how to say sorry. Both knew that trust was the most important thing they could share. The station was quiet, too quiet for Ben's liking. He knew that on a mining station, quiet often meant trouble was about to begin. He had grown used to the regular hum of the machines and the soft sound of Lara moving around, but this day was different. The silence made his skin prickle. He kept checking the systems, but everything looked normal. Still, he felt uneasy. Ben was running a check on the backup generator when the emergency alarm rang out loud and sharp. The red lights flashed, and the sound was much harsher than before. Ben dropped his tool and ran to the control room. Lara was already there, standing by the broken panel, looking at the readings. Her eyes were wide with worry. What happened? Ben asked, trying to catch his breath. Lara pointed to the screen. A storm is coming, a big one. Ben looked at the map. The gas giant below often caused strong storms, but this one was bigger than any he had seen. The winds were already shaking the station. The outside sensors showed dangerous pressure building up on the main windows. We need to close all the outer doors. Ben said, if we do not, the pressure might break them. Lara nodded. Together, they ran from one end of the station to the other, checking the doors and locking them down. The wind howled outside, making the metal walls shake. Ben felt his heart pound with fear, but Lara's calm helped him stay focused. They made it back to the control room just as the storm hit. The whole station shook. Dust and small stones from the mining drills rattled against the walls. Ben checked the systems again and saw the power dropping fast. The backup is failing, he said. LAIR started working on the control panel, her hands moving fast. We must fix the power lines now, she said. If the backup dies, we will lose air. Ben grabbed his tools and followed her into the service tunnel. It was dark and narrow, but Lara led the way with a small light. As they worked, Ben saw Lara's hands shaking. She was scared too, but she kept going. Lara, I am glad you are here, Ben said, trying to sound calm. I could not do this without you. Lara did not answer for a moment. Then she said, I broke the panel because I was angry. I thought you did not care about me anymore. Ben stopped what he was doing. He looked at Lara and spoke softly. You are my partner. There's no one else I want to work with. I was wrong to talk about Claire so much. I did not know it would hurt you. Lara looked at Ben. Her eyes were full of sadness, but also hope. I do not want to lose you, Ben. I was afraid. Ben nodded. I do not want to lose you either. We are a team. They worked in silence. For a few minutes, fixing the power lines. Ben held the wires steady while Lara made careful repairs. Every now and then, the whole station shook. Ben wondered if the storm would ever stop. But having Lara next to him made everything a little less scary. When they finished, they hurried back to the control room. Ben checked the systems and saw the power coming back slowly. The alarm stopped. Lara checked the air system and smiled a little. We did it, she said. Ben smiled back. We make a good team. They sat down on the floor, tired and covered in dust. The storm still howled outside, but inside things felt safe. Ben looked at Lara and felt a warmth in his chest. He did not want to work with anyone else. Thank you, Lara, Ben said quietly. Lara looked at him and nodded. Thank you. Ben. As the hours passed, the storm started to weaken. Ben and Lara fixed a few more problems, then finally sat together in the kitchen, eating soup. The silence was peaceful now. Ben told Lara about his favorite places on Earth. Lara listened and asked questions about the sun and the smell of flowers. When the storm ended, the stars outside seemed brighter than before. Ben and Lara checked all the systems one last time. The control panel was still cracked, but it worked. Lara ran her hand over the dent she had made, then looked at Ben. I am sorry for breaking this. I did not know how to tell you how I felt. Ben shook his head. It is okay, now I understand. Lara smiled. I will try to talk more next time. Ben laughed. Me too. And I will not talk so much about other people, I promise. They shared a quiet laugh. Ben felt good, like a heavy weight was gone from his shoulders. He looked at Lara and knew their friendship was stronger than ever. Before going to sleep, Ben sent Claire a short message. Storm over. Lara and I fixed it. We are good again. Claire sent back a thumbs up and a short, good job. Ben smiled. As he fell asleep that night, he felt grateful for Lara, for the tough times and the good ones too. Out in space, far from home, Ben realized that real friendship meant learning, growing, and forgiving even when things got hard. After the big storm, the station felt almost peaceful. Ben woke up feeling rested for the first time in days. When he walked to the kitchen, he found Lara already making a pot of hot water for soup. She looked tired, but there was a calm look in her eyes. Ben realized how much things had changed since the day Lara broke the control panel. Now, they could sit together without feeling strange or hurt. Ben poured himself a cup and sat with Lara at the table. The silence between them felt warm and safe. Ben smiled. We did a good job yesterday, Lara nodded. Yes, I think we work better now. I trust you. Ben felt proud. He wanted to say more, but he was not sure what to say. Sometimes words seem too small for big feelings. Instead, he finished his soup and got ready for another day of work. The supply ship arrived just after lunch. It was late, but Ben was glad to see new parts and fresh food. Lara helped him carry the heavy boxes down the hall. As they worked, Ben noticed Lara was smiling more than before. He felt good, too. It was like the weight from the past weeks was finally gone. Ben and Lara started fixing the control panel for real this time. They replaced the broken screen and fixed all the wires. Ben let Lara take the lead. She was careful, double-checking every wire and button. Ben handed her tools and watched her work. He realized how much he had learned from her. When they finished, the panel worked better than ever. Ben ran a test and all the lights turned green. Lara nodded, pleased. It is strong now. We did this together. Ben smiled. We make a good team. After they finished the repairs, Ben and Lara took a break. They went to the viewing window, looking out at the stars and the swirling clouds of the gas giant below. Ben shared stories about his home. Lara told him more about her world, She spoke of caves filled with music and colors. Ben listened, trying to picture it all in his mind. After a while, Laura looked at Ben and spoke softly. "I am glad you are here. I do not want another partner," Ben nodded. "I do not want anyone else either." For a long time they sat in silence, just watching the stars. Ben felt peaceful, even happy. He realized how much Lara meant to him, not just as a coworker, but as a friend, maybe even more than a friend. But he did not try to say everything. Sometimes being together was enough. As the days passed, Ben and Lara built new habits. They ate breakfast together every morning, fixed machines as a team, and took breaks together to talk about their lives. Lara started to ask more questions about Earth. She wanted to know what grass felt like, what rain smelled like, and how people on Earth showed friendship. Ben answered as best he could. Sometimes he would find a video or picture to show Lara. She liked the pictures of flowers and forests best. Ben promised that if she ever came to Earth, he would show her a real garden. Lara smiled at the idea. One day, Claire sent Ben a message. "You and Lara seem happy now." "Good work," Ben wrote back. "Thanks for the help. I learned a lot." Claire replied, "Maybe one day you will visit Lara's world too." Ben thought about that. He liked the idea of visiting Lara's home, seeing her world, and meeting her family. He wondered if they would like him. Lara seemed to guess what he was thinking. "If you come to my world, you will be safe with me," she said. Ben smiled. "And if you come to Earth, you will be safe with me." They both laughed quietly. It was a promise between friends. As time went on, Ben and Lara learned how to talk about their feelings. If Ben did something that upset Lara, she would tell him. If Lara did something Ben did not understand, he would ask her about it. They did not have to guess anymore. Trust grew between them, making every day on the station a little easier. Ben realized he did not miss Earth as much as before. The stars outside were still lonely, but they did not make him sad. He looked forward to every day, working and sharing meals with Lara. Sometimes he wondered what people on Earth would think about his life, but to Ben, it did not matter. He had found something special out in the stars. One evening, after a long day, Ben and Lara sat by the window, drinking soup. Ben looked at Lara and said, "Thank you for staying." Lara looked back at him, her eyes bright. "Thank you for not giving up on me," Ben smiled, feeling the truth in her words. Their friendship was stronger than any storm, any broken panel. Together they could face anything. Outside, the stars shone brighter than ever, lighting up the dark sky. Inside the station, Ben and Lara knew they would never be alone again.